This one here does not want to crank. Let's get into it. All right guys, here we have a 1995 Yamaha G14 gas. This one here, the customer complaint was they would start driving the cart and once they stopped, they could not restart it. And after they let it set for a while, it would restart again, but it would be very slow. And then now it just doesn't crank and do nothing at all. It doesn't even crank when they step on the pedal. So I think we're gonna kind of check out the starter generator. That's where I'm kind of first leaning towards. But we'll do a check on the solenoid just to see if there's any issues there first. All right, so let's get under the seat here. I'll just kind of give you a quick show you what it's doing or not doing. You can see that it's not really doing anything. It just clicks and then that's it. All right, so we're gonna do this briefly because we don't really want to damage anything further with the starter generator, just in case it is a brush problem, but we're not 100% certain yet. Now, we do hear the solenoid clicking, okay? I don't know if you're gonna be able to see my meter here, but I'll put it in, I'll put it right there. We're gonna go to the negative side of the battery, which is there. We're gonna go to the positive side, we're just gonna check. We have, if I can get a good connection, 12.45 volts. So now we're going to go over to the battery side of the solenoid and check. 12.45. Now we're going to also check on the starter generator side and activate the pedal. 12.33. Okay, so we know that we're getting power through the solenoid. Now you can jump this out with the pliers if you really want to. I don't really think it's necessary if you use a voltmeter. You don't have to worry about damaging the studs and the threads and all that on the solenoid, so it's just best not to do it that way. You can, I mean, it's not really a bad thing. It is a quick and dirty way of testing to see if the starter generator or the solenoid are not working. But I want to show you now, if I take this clutch and I kind of roll it back and forth and I put the pedal on. Oop, hear that? Hear how it's kind of like chattering a little bit, and it's not going to roll the engine over because it's there. Here's that little bit of whirling over. That tells me that the starter generator needs brushes. So to get to the starter generator, we got to pull pretty much all this crap off. So we'll start with the air box. That's the easiest. I like to take it way back because if I don't, it'll be a very difficult piece to get out. There's the inlet hose. There's a clamp on it as well. I know you probably can't see what I'm doing yet, but you have to take this PCV hose off. Just push it out of, actually you can take it right off the engine, get it out of the way. The intake hose that comes off the intake, the air box portion, got to get that off. That just slides right off. Okay. And then there's two 10mm bolts. There's a 10mm bolt down in here. Maybe there's just one. I honestly don't remember. It's been a while since I've had to take an airbox out of a G14. At least this style airbox. This is a simple design. Oh, no, there's two. I'm sorry. There's another one down over here. I didn't see it till now. Get this one off. There we go. Okay, now that just lifts right out, and that's just a canister filter, basically. Looks like a miniature shop vac, doesn't it? Now there's a little spacers, centering spacers inside here and here. Try not to lose those. Sometimes they come out with the nuts, or with the bolts rather. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get on the starter generator. There's a 12mm on the adjuster bolt, or the adjuster arm. We got to take the starter generator completely out of the cart, so we have to remove it entirely and drop it on the floor. Or actually right here on the pan. So I like to put the nut on the bolt, just so that way we don't lose parts. Okay, and then you should be able to pull up on the starter generator belt and it should come off pretty easily. And we're going to inspect the belt while we're in here. It looks like it's okay. I mean, it does have some cracks in it, but I'm sure they're not going to want to change it. Now there's a 17mm bolt that runs the length of the starter. I'm actually going to use a extension on this, just a little one, just to give me enough to get in here. Oh, also we're going to turn the key off. We are going to disconnect the battery in a minute. I just want to get the hard stuff started. Okay, and then that bolt runs through to back here. Okay, so now I'll rotate it until the wrench catches, and then it should, there we go. That should do. So starting it on this end, this is the bolt side. The nut side is on the battery side of the cart. So that way, if that bolt spins, then you know it's going to come apart pretty easily. And then you should be able to just take everything apart by hand. And drop that on the floor. I dropped that on the floor for sure. I heard it land. And it should just, it does, it should just slide right out. There it is. See, this doesn't even have any rust on it. Look at that. Very nice. Okay, so now what we'll do is, well, kind of questioning touching that battery, because I know if I do, I'm going to have to replace some cabling. All right, so what we'll do is we're going to disconnect the positive side and negative side of the starter generator, and we also have to disconnect the DF, which is the charging circuit. So once we get this out of here, we'll be able to take a look at the brushes and see what they look like. I'm hoping I just can use brushes. If that's the case, it'll be an in and out. I don't have any starter generators in stock for this, and I believe they are on back order. And I'm attempting to reinstall the nut. Okay, and drop the wrench on the ground because that's part of it too, just in case. So I'm basically just disconnecting now the ground lug. This stuff should come apart pretty easily. And then once you get the, oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's correct. Okay. That negative ring terminal is on there. Okay, let's make sure we got everything disconnected that we need to disconnected. Okay, so there was a negative. That was odd. I have to remember to put that back. That was a negative. The grounding circuit is on that too. I got to disconnect the charging circuit down on that side. Okay, now we're ready to lift this out. You don't have to take off the interconnecting wire to remove it. Should just lift right out, just like that. Voila. Ooh, this is original, it looks like. Hitachi, yep. Let's see. Ooh, that is crunchy. All right, so just so I don't forget, see, this is what came off the negative terminal as well. So I'm just going to put that back on there with the washer and the nut, so that way I don't lose it. Or forget to hook it back up and wonder why I can't get the cart to start. I really want to take that off before we move it. So I'm just going to take a flathead. This is, let's see if we can line this up so we don't break anything off here. This is a very crunchy component here. I do have these covers if I needed to replace them. I think I might have to because this is not coming off easily and it might rip. Slid that in a little too far. Okay, so that brush looks okay. No. No, it doesn't. In fact, let's see. What I'm going to do is take the spring. I want to see if I can pull that, lift that brush out of there. I need a smaller flathead though. Shorter one would be nice, but hey, get what I can get right at the moment. Okay, so the brush is not stuck. Let's see if we can pull that back. Okay, so that brush is not stuck. I mean, we're going through the process. We're going to just take the end cap off anyway and replace them. There might be a stuck brush. That might just be all the problem is. Hopefully you guys can, yep, see that one's not stuck. Well, it's not anymore. And this one's a little crusty here. I don't know if you guys can see in here. See what I'm doing. That wing is probably in the way. Oh, that one feels okay. Okay, well, you know what we're going to do? Let's take this over to the vise. We'll pull this cap off and we'll see what's going on. And you can see two of the brushes have actually gone all the way in, and you can see there's the wear bar. It hasn't even eaten, you know, through maybe 20% of the starter generator brush, but you can see how this one was stuck and how that's sticking. There's a bit of a lip on it, and this one here is kind of sticking in the slider here. But this one too also has, all four of them have significant brush material remaining, so we're not going to change the brushes. I might just file the edges of these down a little bit and just kind of clean them up a little and put them back together, and it should be fine. I will clean the commutator bars as well with some electric motor cleaner, and then clean that up and get ready to put that back together. And I just thought I would show you. There's the commutator, all cleaned up. It's not badly scorched or anything. There's no pitting. I mean, well, maybe in a couple of spots there's some pitting, but that's about it. Overall, it looks pretty good. Went through the process and cleaned these up. You can see now I'm actually pushing my thumb up into the brush holder, the retaining thing, and it's holding. So that one's fully moving. This one here, there goes my meter. It's all yelling at me. This one here freely moves as it should, and as does this one. So the brushes are now freely moving inside the carrier, but you can see there is still a healthy portion of, you can see by the wear line, healthy portion of brush material left, so it doesn't make sense to change these out when there's still plenty of material left. And instead of costing the customer money, we're able to repair. These are all working like they should now. They're moving freely. The commutator bars on the starter generator are not damaged in any way, majorly anyway. They're just very, very few small pits on them, but nothing to really worry about. Now, the two brushes that were hanging, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. There is a little bit of pitting on that surface there, and on this one here. There's a little bit of pitting, but it's not really anything that I'm concerned with. So we'll put it back in. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't work, then we'll just pull the starter generator back out and go from there. See what happens. Okay, let's go reassemble it. Let's get the starter generator back in the cart. In case you're wondering why this video is lacking the disassembly and reassembly of the starter generator, it's just to save some time. Just trying to play around with some different techniques and different things here to see how it goes. I don't know, you guys like the longer videos? You like the shorter videos? I personally like the longer videos, but I figured let's try something a little different for a change, just for the hell of it. Now we'll slide the bolt back through. We'll put the flat washer, then the lock washer on the other end. And then we'll start threading on the nut. It's actually such a good fit and it's so loose. I started pushing it back out of the thingy here. All right, so I'm going to put the belt back on while I have this super loose here. Okay. Roll the engine backwards. There we go. And I'm just putting all of the hardware on loose. I'm not putting it on tight yet because I want to get everything lined up Here's that. Come on. Okay, that's not tight, but it's touching. Okay, let's hook the electrical stuff up. I gotta get my wrench here. This video is just a little different from the ones how I usually do them. I figured, like I said, I just wanted to try something a little different. More or less just trying to get this pumped out and done instead of resetting the camera every time I gotta change a position here. Plus there's no room over on the workbench right now. I got so much stuff over there that I'm kind of sorting through. Okay, there's that. I'll put the little wire cap thingamajig over it. While I'm here, I will plug in charging circuit, which I know you can't see what I'm doing because I'm down on the depths of the beast here. Okay, they're plugged in. I have this ground wire, which we'll plug in. Okay, and then I just have to hook up this ground. If I can get the thingy off. Okay. Put that on there, put that on there. Let's see, the Yamahas have the way their grounds are wired, they're not part of the chassis. I believe they're, I don't know, isolated. That's the right word I'm looking for. Okay. Snug that up. Okay, so this electrical's done. Now we just have to tension the belt. I'm going to actually tighten up the 17mm bolt first. I'm going to use the ratchet end of this. No, I'm not. It doesn't fit. Maybe I can get that to slide down on there somehow. There we go. See, and you want this bolt to pivot some. You don't need it to be extremely loose. But this cart is so wore out, it's not going to tighten up anyway. Okay, so now we just have to tension that. And then what I'll do is I'll put a bar in there, or a big extension. Or even a half drive socket ratchet down between the motor and the starter generator, just to get my tension here. And go back to my 10 or my 12mm. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing, hopefully. And I'll get that to where it's touching, and then I'll tighten it once I get the belt tensioned. See, one thing I like about the G14 and up, that adjustment mechanism that's on there for the belt, it's got a little 10mm adjuster bolt that you can just tighten. You don't have to be farting around with trying to monkey yourself in there. Okay, so before we get into putting the airbox back on, let's see if this puppy cranks. Perfect. So it cranks over. That's a good thing. Our repair is successful. Now we just have to put everything back together. Put the intake snorkel back on. I don't know if they really call it a snorkel, but I call it a snorkel, so that's what I'm calling it. Need my Phillips. See, one thing, guys, you got to realize, I am not a DC or an AC or a DC electric motor expert. I know the fundamentals. I know there's a proper, I know some of the motor guys are going to go, that's not how you clean it. Well, that's how I'm cleaning it. And it works in the end. The starter generator operates. The commutator is not damaged by me. I don't use chemicals that are not meant to be used on electric motors, so as long as it works. That works right. That's all that really should matter. Okay, and I'm going to drop both of these bolts down in their holes here. And then put my ratchet on. Actually, I'll take the ratchet off. I have to wiggle this around until I get it started. There we go. Okay, now I gotta attempt. I'm actually gonna put a universal on this. And let's see if I can, there we go. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm over here, over here. There, now you can see my hands. Sorry guys, you'd think by now, 97, 98 videos or whatever this is, you would think by now that I would have this all figured out, this whole YouTube thing. I don't have it figured out yet. I'm in trouble. Believe it or not, live streams are a lot easier to do. There's no production value really. Okay, so now we got to hook up our PCV. Actually, that's backwards. This goes here. And then this goes here. That's what we're going to do. Let's see if it'll start. Okay. All right, there it is, guys. A few hours later, had to stop what I was doing right in the middle of recording that one spot right when I was at the end of putting the starter generator in to take care of something else. Customer will be happy to get the cart back very soon, probably tomorrow at some point. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you already haven't. Check the video's description for links to products I use every single day to make these videos. Using those links does earn me a small commission, but it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it does help support the channel. So as always, guys, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.